beautiful city of Orlando on the campus of UCF. We're live for 1 hour leading up to the kickoff of this year's American Football Championship game between the East Division champion UCF and the West Division's Memphis Tigers. Winner takes all in this top 25 matchup, a conference title on the line, and what looks like a sure lock into a New Year's Six bowl game. I'm Haley Outen alongside veteran college football analyst Corey Chavis. We're looking forward to watching two of the most prolific teams in the country square off today. Corey, how excited are you to watch these two teams battle it out for all the marbles?
Well, I got to be excited, and you do too, because I've never seen it this hot in December. So, and when you think about heat, the word heat, both of these offenses bring so much to the table. I think there's a lot of fans that are looking to be jumping up and down this afternoon.
Well, you hit the nail on the head because this matchup features the top two scoring offenses in the country. UCF averaging about 48.3 points per game, Memphis 47. Corey, what makes each of these offenses so special?
Well, they've got a lot of versatility. There's so many different playmakers that they can go to on their respective sides of the ball. And what I like most is they have quarterbacks who run the show with efficiency.
Well, it's the second meeting for these two programs this season. However, the third time they have prepared to play each other this year, and that's because of the hurricanes that made landfall here in Florida. A lot of rescheduling had to be done for these Florida schools, including UCF. However, for the American, it was a high priority item to get these conference games in. So while Memphis flew out here for the first meeting and then basically turned the plane around and went back home before the hurricane hit landfall, some creative rescheduling done by the league office, eliminating a couple of those non-conference matchups and ultimately getting this game in on September 30th. UCF won that one 40-13. However, something tells me, Corey, that this matchup is going to be a little bit closer today.
Well, you would think so. In that game, Memphis had a lot of problems stopping the run. And if they don't do a better job of that today, then it will become another blowout. But I think they've improved against the run in the last couple of weeks, and that'll pay big dividends for them today.
Well, Memphis has said it. They learned a lot from that last matchup. The only blemish on their 10-1 schedule coming right here on this very field against UCF, punching their ticket to the American Conference Championship after a 10-1 season and winning the East Division. The Tigers were projected to win the West Division in the preseason media poll in Mike Norvell's second year as the head coach. Coming off an 8-win season, Corey, how impressed are you with the job that Coach Norvell has done this season?
I like the energy of his football team, Haley. You want to see a program that's around that 8-5 mark take the next step. They certainly have.
Well, they opened the year with a 37-29 win versus Louisiana Monroe, in which Darrell Henderson, you see him right there, rushed for 169 yards, including touchdown runs of 53 and 63 yards. And then Tony Pollard, he picked up right where he left off from last year, returning a kickoff 99 yards to the house. Just the start of a season-long showcase of offensive stars, Corey.
And their kickoff return unit has been spectacular. One thing that they've done a good job of throughout his tenure so far is play good special teams.
Well, with the originally scheduled meeting of UCF on September 8th postponed, Memphis' next opponent after a week off was number 25 ranked UCLA, featuring early Heisman contender Josh Rosen. But it was Riley Ferguson and the Tigers that came away with national respect as Ferguson lit it up for just under 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Memphis winning that one 48-45. That was the first big test where I think the country was like, hey, these Tigers and the Memphis offense are the real deal. All right, well, moving on, the Memphis offense continued to roll with a 44-31 win over Southern Illinois as Tony Pollard had, you guessed it, another dazzling kickoff return for a touchdown, this time for 100 yards. Corey, this is a special player. I mean, at this point in the year, coaches have to start thinking, please kick it to anybody but this guy.
I mean, 45 yards of return, 44.1 coming into this game. A remarkable figure, the highest figure in the last 10 years in NCAA football.
Well, as mentioned, the only blemish on Memphis' schedule coming in their fourth game of the season right here versus UCF. The Knights defense shut down the Tigers' high-powered offense, forcing 4 turnovers and accounting for over 600 total yards. This was a game a lot of people were excited to see, maybe to give us some clarity as to who the top dogs in the league would be this year. But without question, a tough and disappointing outing for the Memphis Tigers. Well, after that UCF loss, that was not a feeling that would be experienced again. This team won their final 7 games by a combined score of 375 to 194 and finished the season with a 10-1 record and the American West Division crown. So many impressive players on offense. You see one of them right there, Darrell Henderson. He rushed for 1,045 yards and 8 touchdowns this year. Couldn't have gotten it done without his quarterback, Riley Ferguson. Compiled 3,500 passing yards on the season with 32 touchdowns and just 8 interceptions. Anthony Miller holds about every record in the book for the Memphis Tigers. 78 receptions for 1,212 yards and 14 touchdowns. And Tony Pollard, we've seen a whole lot of him this season. He tacked on 2 more returns for touchdowns, bringing his season total to 4. I mean, the number of weapons on offense has to give that defensive staff at UCF a bit of a headache watching film.
Yeah, it really does. And Tony Pollard is a guy who's developed at the receiver position. You're talking about over 15 yards per reception. Patrick Taylor averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. We talked about Henderson. They did not establish the run the first time they played UCF. They've got to do that today.
Well, we spent a lot of time looking back at some of the top offensive players on the Memphis side, but possibly no better representative than a guy who has seen it all in his 5th year, looking to go out on top. I had a chance to catch up with redshirt senior Anthony Miller yesterday. You started off as a walk-on at Memphis about 5 years ago. Looking back to that point, would you ever imagine being in the shoes that you're in today as a senior, playing in the conference championship game with a chance to go out on top?
Oh, for sure. I've always been working hard, and I've always had the privilege of having great teammates to push me along, and we've always had this one goal of winning every game we possibly can.
How did you personally transition from being that overlooked high school receiver to the all-time leading records holder at Memphis?
It seems like all my life I've had a chip on my shoulder. You know, I might have been too small or too slow, but when I step on that field, I always prove somebody wrong. So, like I said, when I got to Memphis, it was the same way. So, yeah, it was just back to the routine.
Memphis is your hometown. I know that city means a whole lot to you. What has it meant to you to put on that Memphis jersey week in and week out?
It means a lot. You know, the city of Memphis, they're behind us 100%. I believe they just lit the bridge up with blue lights. You know, it's just that type of spirit back home, and the people are just really excited that we have this opportunity in front of us, and we're going to take full advantage.
You've gotten to play for some pretty good coaches throughout your career at Memphis. How has Coach Norvell impacted you the most?
He's made us better players, but he's also made us better men. He's instilled great values in us each and every day. He always teaches us to put our all into what we're doing and dedicate ourselves 100%. And I believe that's what we've been doing, and that's why we're to the point we are today.
You've also gotten to play with some pretty good quarterbacks throughout your career at Memphis. How would you describe the relationship between yourself and Riley Ferguson?
You know, Riley's my guy. He's a great guy on and off the field. You know, he's an easy person to vibe with. And as soon as he stepped on campus, he knew that it was time to work, and it was no playing around. And since he's been here, it's just been a great time, and we've put Memphis on the map.
You didn't have an easy path coming out of high school into college, but Riley didn't have the easiest collegiate career to land at Memphis. Would you say that that's something that has brought you guys closer together?
I believe so. It sort of sets us as underdogs. You know, we've always had people say that we can't do it or we're not capable of doing things, but we've set records at Memphis. You know, we've been the winningest senior class here, and we've just done a lot of things that we could be proud of.
Your team is 10-1. You're going up against UCF 11-0. The only loss on your schedule coming right here on this field back in September. How much motivation does that give you guys to flip the script in the biggest game of the year?
It gives us a lot of motivation. You know, that first game we didn't play well at all. I believe we had 5 turnovers, and we just played terrible. And I believe since that loss, we've progressed as a team. We've got better and better each and every week. And I think we're going to come out with a different mindset tomorrow. It's going to be a different ball game.
5 years at Memphis, and it all comes down to this moment and one more game on your schedule. What would it mean to you to cap off your career with a conference championship and playing in a New Year's Bowl game?
It's going to mean a lot, not only for me, but for the city of Memphis. I believe this is going to be the biggest game of my life, as far as, just being such a huge figure in the city of Memphis. A lot of people look up to me, a lot of kids, a lot of people are rooting for us, and a lot of people are tuned in to this game. So, like I said, we're ready for this opportunity, and we're thankful we're here.
Well, Corey, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed my conversation yesterday with Anthony Miller. He's just such a happy guy. I'm asking him about if he's sad that it's coming to an end, if he's nervous, and he's like, you know what? I just want to go out there. I just want to smile. I want to win this thing.
You know what? It was a really good sit down I thought you had with him, because you got him to delve into a little bit about what makes him tick. And the first time I noticed him was actually a year ago against SMU, Haley, on the kickoff team. That's right. He was going down covering kicks, and that's that walk-on mentality that when you were talking to him, he referred to. He's taking nothing for granted. I think today he has to play his best game. I did not feel like he had his best game the first time they played UCF. Left a couple of passes on the field. For them to win this football game today, he has to be the electric playmaker with the ball in his hands, and he has to make UCF tacklers miss.
Well, when you see some of the plays he makes, I think it's pretty hard to believe that he was a walk-on at Memphis. I'm sure a lot of college coaches probably regretting overlooking him as a player, but what is it about his skill set that gives him the ability to possibly play at the next level?
I think you talk about what it is about his skill set. The number one thing is to run after the catch. He's very energetic with the ball in his hands. He's a guy that runs through the catch. You saw that just a week ago when he had an 89-yard touchdown on their first drive of the game against ECU. He's also somebody that can track the football down the field. Not easy to do when you're a smaller guy. He's got enough of a jittery nature in his shoulders and also his lower body to get off of press coverage, and I think he can work in the slot.
Well, Anthony Miller is locked in and ready to go. He wants this conference title in his senior season, and I think he wants that New Year's Day bowl game too. But in order to do so, they're going to have to take down a pretty good team in the UCF Knights. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Black and Gold.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Power starts here, and it's taken here. It makes history, it rewrites history, and then rewrites it again. Power is excellence. Champions. Teams of destiny. Power is every season, every week, every day. It's the relentless pursuit of excellence in what comes next. The American Power for Life.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials, student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
Power. Power.
Power for life.
Hey, super fans, drive with pride with a Knight-branded ePass toll sticker. Night Pass is accepted on all toll roads in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. Even use it to pay for parking at Orlando International Airport. Go to getnightpass.com to score yours today. American Football Championship pregame show presented by Central Florida Expressway. We've talked about how the Memphis Tigers punched their ticket to the title game. So now let's talk a little bit about the home team, Corey. What a season it's been. The program has never gone 11-0 in the regular season. And when you look back to September and what this team had to go through, would you have ever thought they'd be sitting in the position they're in today?
I mean, well, the beginning of the year, all you heard about was USF. How USF was going to be predicted to go undefeated. They would have pretty much be a cakewalk through the conference. I think this team had an internal focus throughout the season that has maintained itself to today.
Well, you mentioned USF, the overwhelming favorite to win the whole conference this season, and they took care of business against the Bulls last week. We'll get to that in a second. But none of this could have been accomplished without their head coach, Scott Frost. After just 2 seasons at the helm, he's taken the UCF Knights from 0-12 in 2015 to an undefeated 11-0 record and the American East Division title this season. One of just 2 undefeated teams in the country, the other one, Wisconsin. Corey, I don't care how good you are, 11-0 is just a really special accomplishment.
It really is, and this conference hasn't seen this type of productivity from any team before. Even with the great Houston team a couple of years back that beat Florida State in the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Well, Scott Frost is a very loved man here on the UCF campus. They're hoping to keep him around. But right from the start of the season, this team's high-octane offense never took its foot off the gas, scoring at least 30 points in every game and leading the FBS in scoring with, we mentioned it, 48.3 points per game, led by the conference's offensive player of the year, Mackenzie Milton, who has thrown for 30 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions, along with running back Adrian Pillins Jr. And I know you like this guy, Corey, wide receiver Traquan Smith. UCF was nearly unstoppable all season long. This is another team that brings so many dynamic offensive weapons.
They do, and I like the fact that they spread the field horizontally and also attack you vertically. So it really puts stress on your defense.
Who do you think is the most impressive playmaker on this UCF offense?
I think it's Traquan Smith because of his body control. I mean, you look at the Cincinnati game, they only played 3 quarters, and he had almost 200 yards receiving.
All right, well, we're going to have to give the special teams some love, too. Mike Hughes has been an impressive player all season long, returning 1 punt for a touchdown and 2 kickoffs for a touchdown this season. This is going to be a game where special teams could have a serious impact. I don't imagine the ball finding the hands of Hughes and Pollard, at least not intentionally, on kickoff return.
Well, you need to kick away from these guys. They're just too explosive, and they can change field position in a hurry.
So pretty interesting. Memphis and UCF, 2 very impressive playmakers when it comes to kickoff returns. As a coach, how do you prepare your team to go up against some pretty special teams?
Well, I think one thing from the kickoff perspective, you got to think about directionally kicking the football.
All right, well, it wasn't only the offense that has been dominant, as the defense led the American in fewest points allowed and was 3rd in total yards allowed, led by unanimous first-team all-conference linebacker Shaquem Griffin, who took home last year's Defensive Player of the Year accolade. He was a defensive stat stuffer. This guy isn't only a force on the field, but he's a great leader. He has an infectious personality that I know this team feels really lucky to have. Well, as the season progressed and UCF beat opponent after opponent, it was clear that the road to the American Conference Championship game would culminate in a showdown with the USF Bulls, the preseason favorite to win it all, and it didn't disappoint. It was one of the wildest and most exciting games in all of college football this season. Early on, it looked like UCF might run away with it, but when you have Quinton Flowers on your team and your USF, never count him out. The halftime score was 21-20. Late in the second half, it was all going to come down to the end. USF with a long scoring drive. UCF special teams would be the difference. We mentioned it. Mike Hughes, he went 95 yards for a touchdown to give the Knights the hard-earned 49-42 victory and the East Division title, clinching their berth into this American Championship game and their right to host. It was a sellout crowd here at Spectrum Stadium. These guys laid it all on the line. Corey, how do they channel that energy to get back up for yet another championship game again just 8 days later?
Well, I think you bring up a great point. Can you re-energize yourself? How important was practice to you this week? Were you paying attention in the meetings at the utmost level? During practice, did you correct those mistakes? So many different factors weigh in when you're talking about replicating a performance like they had a week ago. So we're not sure. Will they come out? This crowd will have to give UCF some energy.
Well, two very impressive offenses. Defense could be the key in this game, and lucky for UCF, they have a pretty good defensive player on their side. We mentioned him, Shaquem Griffin. He's proven himself on and off the field, and I was fortunate enough to have a chance to catch up with Shaquem this weekend. I can tell you, this game means the world to him.
I feel like later in life, that's going to impact you.
The past couple of seasons, you've personally excelled on the field, but your story has been pretty well documented up to this point. What has it meant to you to have your story shared and just to inspire so many people all over the country that are watching college football?
I mean, it means everything to me. It shows that I'm doing the right thing, and, I always show them what I believe in is not being told what I can't do, and, being able to take it in myself and being able to overcome so many obstacles and kind of show everybody else that, it's always possible if you just try. And, that's the whole thing for me is being able to showcase my talents to everybody else and show them that, anything is possible as long as you just give it a try. There's so many people who just say, you can't do this, you can't do that, which have other people think like, maybe they're right. But if you just give it a shot, you never know. And, I'm glad I'm able to be that face to those who, if you just give it a chance, you never know what will be the outcome.
With your win over USF last Friday, your team earned the right to host this championship game. I know you all are trying to move past that at this point and look ahead to Saturday, but when you think back to the feelings you felt on Friday night, looking around in Spectrum Stadium, all of the fans, a packed house, all of the lights, have you ever felt anything like that in your life?
I mean, for me, that was the first time ever. I mean, I was emotional before the game even started. It was senior night. The stands was packed. It was loud. It was, everybody just cheering and stuff. And, it kind of bring that emotion like, man, I came so far. And just to receive all the love from everybody. I mean, it was amazing. And just to come out with a W, I mean, it was emotional for me. I had to hold it in like, man, I'm ready to explode and just run around and go crazy. But, I mean, it was an emotional time for not only me but the team. I mean, it was said that it looked like I was about to cry. But I don't think I was about to cry. I think I was fine. But, obviously there was a lot of emotion going on. But, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I mean, that game was crazy. My heart was just, oh, my goodness. I was nervous, and I was happy, and I got nervous again. The game was up and down. We was winning, then we was down, and we had to face adversity. But, with teammates like I have, I mean, it's never nothing too much that we can handle. I mean, even when we was down, we was able to pick each other back up and make sure that we got the job done. I mean, that's the best feeling in the world when you got the support system from every single player on the team.
Well, with that win, you earned yourself the right to play one more game as a UCF night in Spectrum Stadium. When you take the field for the championship game, what do you anticipate that feeling to be like, and how do you kind of control some of those emotions that you're describing, knowing that this is the last time you're going to do this with these guys around you on this field?
I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint it because, last one. I mean, I waited so long. It's been year after year, and I finally be able to say it's my last one in Spectrum Stadium. I mean, it's gonna be hard feeling. It's gonna be hard to leave, but it's just a part of the journey. And I tell the guys all the time that we on this journey, we can't let nobody stop us from what we want to accomplish out of this team and out of this schedule and out of this whole conference. I mean, we worked so hard for everything we wanted, and I'm enjoying every single moment with these guys, and they making the old senior happy. I can say that, and I love all my guys, and no matter what the situation, no matter what happens, I love them guys to death.
What would it mean to you to be able to close out your legacy here at UCF with a conference championship, punching that ticket to that New Year's Day Bowl? What would it mean to you and just your legacy that you've left here?
That means I can talk trash to my brother. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, I can always say my senior year is better than his, and that's kind of cool when you got some bragging rights, and I can hold that for the rest of my life. Whatever we go to the family reunion, whatever we go, I'm always gonna bring up this season because I know it's better than my brother. So it's kind of cool when you got a chance to brag, and there's nothing he can say about it. I mean, it's awesome. For me to finish strong like this, it's a blessing, and obviously I never seen it coming. Just being able to be in a situation for us to play for this conference championship, because I remember You know, when I first got here, you know, you win a couple games and then they give you the conference, but now you have the opportunity to actually play for it. It's so much meaningful now, and it's crazy, and the hype is wild, and, you know, it's just, the experience is just amazing. I mean, this is my first time ever having the opportunity to pay for a championship. I wasn't able in high school, and just to say that I'm finally here in college is just another step for me, and I'm just excited. I'm just excited to go. I'm ready to go for this game.
Well, Shaquem has had his unique story told to pretty good depth here the past couple seasons, but overall, this is a kid, he just loves life, he loves football, he loves to bring it at practice, he loves to bring it on game day. It seems like nothing is going to stand in his way. He's going to give this game all he's got.
He is, and today Memphis has to have a good plan, because I think they're going to, Eric Shenander, the defensive coordinator for UCF, he's going to move Griffin around. You're going to see him walk out over the slot. You're going to see him maybe even at an exchange linebacker position, and you'll see him off the edge. He's one of those players that's hard to prepare for because he can beat offensive tackles, and he actually can cover some of your running backs out of the backfield. He really expands this defensive attack, really, for the Knights.
Griffin was another one of those players that was pretty overlooked. His brother, Shaquem Griffin, who's now playing on the Seattle Seahawks, was getting all that attention, getting all that love. But Scott Frost's coaching staff is really the first group that showed belief in Shaquem. They showed up and they're like, hey, this guy's got something pretty special. And this is a coaching staff that thinks Shaquem can definitely play at the next level. It's not a matter of if, but who's going to be lucky enough to get this guy on their roster.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the last guy that you really can think of at the next level that had, you know, some type of physical deformity, Tom Dempsey. He set the NFL record for the longest field goal in NFL history way back in 1970. It didn't stop him. I don't think anything will stop Griffin.
Well, Shaquem, a great player, a great person to be around. We've certainly enjoyed our time with him, and we wish him best of luck today. But his team, they've certainly brought a lot of attention to themselves and the American Athletic Conference this season. So coming up next, we're going to be joined here on the set by the commissioner of the American, Mike Aresco.
When I came into this classroom, we had 30 desks, 30 chairs, a teacher's desk. That was
Donors Choose is the greatest, simplest idea. Teachers put up materials they need. You, as a donor, choose a school.
And you can fund part of a project or the entire project. It is magic.
With Donors Choose, you know exactly where it goes, every dime.
They feel like somebody in this country cares about me and my potential, and that's a powerful thing.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers, for going the extra yard.
He taught me things that I'm still doing to this day.
Every time I see her, she's always has a smile on her face.
She helped me grow from day to day.
I'm ready to go the extra yard for teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Bonner, for pushing me to be better.
Will you go the extra yard for teachers?
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially. Schreitenstall's over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
How to get $100 in tolls this holiday. Get an e-pass backed by popular demand. 5 lucky people will win $100 in tolls this holiday season. Yep, just by getting a free e-pass. Visit getepass.com today for full details. Welcome back to the American Football Championship pregame show presented by Central Florida Expressway. It's been a heck of a season for the American Athletic Conference. A couple of top 25 teams battling it out today. Right here behind us for the conference title, 7 heading to a bowl. And we're now joined here on the set by the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, Mike Oresco. Mike, what a year it's been for this league. I mean, not only watching how this season came to a dramatic close last Friday against USF in this stadium. I mean, you look at that atmosphere, you look at the talent on the field. How proud are you of the display of football that this conference has shown this season?
I think proud's the right word. Haley, I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations. Maybe not mine, though. I really thought we had something good here. And to be here with you and Corey, I'm thrilled. What a beautiful day. Maybe I'll take the sunglasses off. But, man, it's bright. It's bright. But no, this is a great day for the conference. You know, we've had 4 teams in the top 25 this year, if you count Navy for a little while. USF, I think, belongs in the CFP top 25. I've said that all season. The game they played last week, you hated to see anybody lose a game like that. It was so good. But no, we're thrilled.
I think you talk about this conference. How, for you, does it go back to that first year when you basically had Teddy Bridgewater playing for Louisville and you had Blake Bortles playing for UCF, and that prime-time matchup between those two teams, did that kind of catapult this conference to another level from that point, those two guys both going eventually in the first round?
Yeah, you know, Corey, that's a great observation because people forget about our origins. You know, when Boise decided not to join, remember they were supposed to join the old Big East, everybody said, well, you lost your best team, and so what? And I said, no, there's a lot of good teams left in this league. Now, fortunately, we had Louisville for one more year in the first year, but we didn't know UCF was that good, and Blake Bortles, of course, had a great year. But those 4 wide receivers, you know, Wharton and Rennell Hall and Rashad Perriman, they're all in the NFL. Look what they did to Baylor in that Fiesta. I think that was the seminal moment early on when they really, really pounded Baylor in the
doubt about it.
People said this conference, top teams can play with anyone. And they were 6th in the country at the time, Baylor. But yeah, that was, and that great comeback by UCF, 28-7 in the 4th quarter, and they came back and beat Louisville. That was a great game. We needed that stability right away, and we needed that energy right away. But it's been a great development since then. Look at how many games we've won against the big guys.
The bowl teams every year, and more draft picks last year than the Big 12.
Right, I know.
Well, in the past 5 years, there's been some really impressive teams, some extremely noteworthy players, but I know you know these 2 head coaches pretty well. They've only been in this conference for a couple of seasons, but when you look at this league and the talent across it, what is your evaluation of the coaches that are leading the charge in this conference?
Well, we've got outstanding coaches, and we've always had outstanding coaches. We have a good formula. We hire great young assistants at the best in the country. Or we hire veterans like Charlie Strong and Randy Edson. Whenever you can get conference, look at Houston, Oklahoma last year, Houston, Louisville. But the teams have done it. The administrators have hired good coaches. We've recruited great players. We're not necessarily getting 5-star kids, although we have Ed Oliver. But when we do get kids, we coach them up. They're great players, and they want to compete. So they've done it, and I'm just I'm the voice for the conference, but they've done a great job.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by the show in the pregame. We're just moments away from kickoff. Looking forward to a good one. Enjoy yourself today.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Corey. Corey, we were reminiscing a little. I remember him from his Vanderbilt days. He was a great player. I programmed his games at CBS with Peyton Manning. They held Peyton to fewer points than almost anybody else.
Well, reunited. We've got a great crew here today. On the set, we're going to keep the show rolling. We're switching it back to the Memphis side after this. Stay with us here on the American Football Championship pregame show.
Thanks a lot, man.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, to solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Power starts here, and it's taken here. It makes history. It rewrites history, and then rewrites it again. Power is excellence. Champions. Teams of destiny. Power is every season, every week, every day. It's the relentless pursuit of excellence in what comes next. The American Power for Life.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle.
A big save.
A clutch hit.
And a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Hey super fans, drive with pride with a Knight-branded ePass toll sticker. Knight Pass is accepted on all toll roads in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. Even use it to pay for parking at Orlando International Airport. Go to getKnightPass.com to score yours today.
Roger Joseph, right tackle.
Welcome back to the 2017 American Football Championship pregame show presented by Central Florida Expressway. We've got two great teams battling it out today for the title, and to help us break it down a little bit more, what better way than to bring in some of the experts that have been breaking these two teams down all season long. We're now joined here on the set by the Memphis Commercial Appeal beat writer, Mark Giannotto, and Orlando Sentinel columnist, Mike Bianchi. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here today as we lead up to kickoff. Fans are filing in. This atmosphere is going to be a great one here just in a few moments. But first of all, these two teams, pretty unique situation to be able to meet twice in one season, but the third time they've prepared for each other. We'll start with you on the UCF side. What went well for the Knights in game one of the season?
Well, obviously Memphis helped them out a lot by making some turnovers, obviously. But UCF has been focused all year long. Their offense has been unbelievable. The turnaround on offense from last year with Scott Frost and the way he has coached this offense, I just think their offense is the statistics bear it out. They're the top offense in the country scoring-wise.
Mark, this Memphis team hasn't lost since this game right here behind us. It was a sloppy game, a performance that they weren't super happy about, but a performance that they definitely learned from. What has been the biggest difference since this game for the Memphis team as a whole?
Well, I think going in that first game, they were dealing with a lot of injuries on much, and I think he realized he doesn't need to do too much to win games. This offense is good enough where he just needs to do his job. So I expect to see Riley play a much better game. And that game in general, I mean, it just changed in the second quarter. It was a close game and then just turned into a blowout in about 5 minutes. And I just think this Memphis team really learned and grew from that experience going through that.
I kind of want to piggyback off your point, because one of the things in reviewing that film that I saw was the fact that even Trevon Tate and you know, some of the guys inside like Drew Kaiser, I didn't think they had their best game going against Jemias Pittman, Tony Garrard, some of those guys inside. That matchup to me kind of really is what stopped Memphis' offense from getting into a rhythm, because they couldn't run the ball. Do you feel, how do the coaches feel about their development with that matchup this week?
Well, the O-line has played, there was a question mark coming into this year, and in general it's played pretty well. But that game was their worst game of the year. And Memphis coaches have said this UCF defensive front is the best defensive front they faced this season. And I agree with you. I think up front it's going to really tell the tale of how Memphis does offensively and defensively, really, but offensively. They've run for over 300 yards the past 2 weeks, and I think they had 75 yards in that UCF game. And so I think that balance is going to be key because Riley Ferguson does not do great with a lot of pressure in his face, and we kind of saw that in the first UCF game.
Mark, you talk about Riley Ferguson and the performance that he had here on this field. I know I talked to him this past week, and he told me you're going to see a different Riley Ferguson today. He knows what he needs to do to get the job done. A pretty consistent quarterback, I would say, despite, other than this game, a pretty consistent quarterback all year. So, Mike, for you, Mackenzie Milton cast into that starting job about 3 games into the season last year. It was a roller coaster of a season for Mackenzie. Learned a lot of up and downs. What is the biggest difference you've seen in Mackenzie Milton's play this year?
Just confidence in the fact that he's been implemented into the offense. The offensive line last year did not help him out. I mean, he was under duress all season long last year. And the offensive line has blocked a lot better. They've run the ball better. That's helped Mackenzie. But he has a grasp of Scott Frost's offense. That is a very complicated offense. You got to make split-second decisions in that offense. And now he's comfortable with it. And he's as smart and intelligent a quarterback at making those decisions as I've seen.
Well, looking forward to this great top 25 matchup. Mike, Mark, thanks for all your coverage this year. Great having you on the show. Enjoy the games today, and it should be a good one. Coming up next, more football here from Orlando. Stay with us.
Classroom, we had 30 desks, 30 chairs, a teacher's desk. That was.
Donors Choose is the greatest, simplest idea. Teachers put up materials they need. You, as a donor, choose a school.
And you can fund part of a project or the entire project. It is magic.
With Donors Choose, you know exactly where it goes, every dime.
They feel like somebody in this country cares about me and my potential, and that's a powerful thing.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers, for going the extra yard.
He taught me things that I'm still doing to this day.
Every time I see her, she's always has a smile on her face.
She helped me grow from day to day.
I'm ready to go the extra yard for teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Bonner, for pushing me to be better.
Will you go the extra yard for teachers?
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone.
Double play ball potentially Schreitenthal's over to first. In time, double play, and that ends the game.
How to get $100 in tolls this holiday. Get an e-pass backed by popular demand. 5 lucky people will win $100 on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us in this exciting hour leading up to kickoff. On behalf of Corey Chavis, I'm Haley Outen. May the best man win. We'll see you back here after the game.